Hi, friends. Jenny Wise here from Wise Mind Yoga, Science, and Soul. It has been a week. So I'm just jumping on here to touch base to remind you we've got 4 days to register for our Unleash Success and Heal and Detox Stress. And one of the things that we talked about in our group today was some of the studies that show the effects on our mental health of social isolation and being in a pandemic and having to quarantine ourselves. Okay. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that in a minute. But what I want to talk about, to just remind you all that one of the things that is really important that we're going to cover next week is actually stress resilience skills and learning to change what we call your stress story and learning long-term coping skills and long-term stress skills and stress resilience skills. And we're going to talk about the cost of stress. What is stress costing you right now financially? Which, believe it or not, there's been surveys done on average that someone spends $1,000 a month on short-term stress coping skills like alcohol or shopping or other things that we're going to talk about. So just thinking about what is stress costing you. So not, again, just from a health perspective, but from a financial perspective. And so we'll learn about how we can use mindfulness to approach stress. And that stress is simply a pattern that we choose to be stressed or not. Okay. We're going to talk about the psychology of success, the neuroscience of change, being able to take your power back. We're going to talk about the energy set point of success, and that how we are aligned with our energy, the openness that we have, is what brings opportunities into our life, right? So whether it's our business, whether it's relationships, whether it's partnerships, friendships, how we are energetically affects that. And then there's actually a science behind it. So it's not just a bunch of woo, sagey, yoga stuff. It's actually science-based, okay? And I can tell you, being from someone that is energetically sensitive, right? Because I'm an empath and I'm also emotionally sensitive. So I'm able to it's a beautiful gift, right? I'm very grateful. It's a beautiful gift as a yoga teacher. It's a beautiful gift as a yoga therapist. It's a beautiful gift even as a friend, as a daughter, as a partner, as a mom, to have that level of empathy and compassion for someone else, that I truly feel that other person's emotion. However, what I've learned over the years and what I'm much better at and good at now is making sure that that energy is that's coming from the other person is not then affecting me. And I've worked with a ton of women and mentored them on this. And it's just super important right now too, because as a global collective, there are so many people that are feeling stress and anxiety and overwhelm and fear and frustration and anger and all the things, you guys, that's happening right now. So if you are emotionally sensitive, you're going to feel it. And if you're an empath. So energy doesn't lie, though. That's the one thing I've figured out. There's been a few times that maybe I wasn't as much in alignment as I am now. There's been a few times that my intuition was off, but most of the time, my intuition is usually spot on and energy doesn't lie. So when you feel that kind of something's off here, usually it is. Okay. So you got to trust your gut, that intuition that you have to know So somebody can talk and act one way, but if you're feeling that kind of disconnect from an energy perspective, again, it doesn't lie. So that's why it's so important for you to be aware of where you are energetically and what you're putting out, because every thought that we create, we put a ray, what we call in yoga, a ray of prana, a negative or positive spin on every thought that we have. And then that energy, positive or negative, flows through us and goes out to other people. So, do we want to be in a place of peace, or do we want to be in a place of overwhelm? And then we're putting that out to other people as well, not just within ourselves. So we want to be able to be a person of, especially as a yoga teacher or as a wellness professional, as a wellness coach, as a therapist, right? You want to be able, as a mom, you want to be able to stay in the place of calm, what we call legacy of peace. And you want to be able to ride the wave, as we talk about in yoga. We want to be able to ride the wave. We don't resist the wave. We go with the wave. We flow with the wave. And one of the things that we talk about next week is being able to stay. The wave is like this. It's not like this with waves of emotion. They go up and down. You stay here and just, right? And so you can actually train yourself to stay in that place of calm. And that is what we call self-mastery. That is what we call samurai mind. That is what we call building a training ground of stress resilience. And we need that right now, okay? So I've been talking about this for years. We need it right now. Okay, so if you have not registered for next week, healdetoxsuccess.com. I'm gonna write it in here. It's all over everywhere, but I'm going to post it again. healdetoxsuccess.com. If you are on here, let me know, because I can't see you with StreamYard. And when you do register, I'm not sure if I mentioned this, but you get your workbook, which is 6 or 7 pages. We spent a lot of time putting this workbook together so that you take notes and also be able to do the homework is in the workbook. You are going to get a meditation tips video, and you're going to get a Ready for Change quiz. That is all going to come when you register. So again, mark your calendar, Monday through Friday, 12 noon Eastern time. We will go live. And Monday we will do a giveaway. Tuesday through Friday we will do a giveaway. We might extend that. I'm still figuring that out, but there's a good chance that we'll extend that over the weekend when I teach yoga next weekend. And so Monday through Friday, and there will be replays. Okay, so if for some reason, like say you're only able to make 3 of the 5 lives, then that's okay. You can watch the replay at any time. And if you could just put #replay when you watch it. And we will be doing a watch party Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern time, where we will launch it and play it. But again, you can watch it at any time on your own as well. And I think I mentioned this, that I've worked with over 4,000 clients on this. I've met with over hundreds of clients privately. I worked with Amazon last year. This is valuable content, even though it's free. It's extremely valuable. Okay, so let me tell you just a quick 2 to 3 minutes on, at a high level, what we talked about today. So I want you guys to know that you are not alone. If you are feeling anxious, if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're feeling fear, anxiety, stress, burnout, frustration, anger, if you're feeling isolated, because we are in a mandated isolation, we're in a mandated quarantine. And so having these emotions is completely normal, okay? So I want to talk about real quick a study that was done mental health research on past quarantines. So in 2002, they had 15,000 people in Toronto that voluntarily quarantined themselves for 10 days. They were exposed to severe acute respiratory syndrome, so SARS, and they were asked to stay home. So they ended up with feelings of social isolation, which I know we're all feeling this right now. I'm right there with you. I've been trying to start to do some park yoga outside every once in a while. I haven't been able to go as much as I would like, but there also are some studios that are doing some soft openings. And so that's a beautiful way to be able to start building community in addition to us meeting online, right? And if you don't feel comfortable, going out, that's totally fine too, right? So you have to listen to whatever your mind and body is telling you, okay? And it's okay whether you feel comfortable or you don't feel comfortable right now. Those are just the feelings that you have, okay? So back to the study. So again, they were feeling social isolation during quarantine, which is completely normal. And there was longer psychological effects. So up to a month or even up to 3 years afterwards, 29% had post-traumatic stress symptoms and 32% had depressive symptoms, okay? So what we're going through right now is considered a post-traumatic stress situation, but there's also something called complex post-traumatic stress. And that is when the trauma repeats itself over and over. And at this point, with the quarantine that we've been in, and we're now going on 7 months of all this happening and different states being in different phases and all the things that's been going on nationally and globally, that we're all just feeling a sense of social isolation and overwhelm. So I just want you to kind of be self-aware of that it's okay. But at the same time, I also want you to try to build self-awareness around your self-care and that you can be in control, you can be empowered with your own self-care, right? You can control using long-term stress coping skills, which we're going to talk about next week. You can control if you do meditation. You can control if you pray. You can control if you exercise, even if it's 15 minutes a day. You can control if you do yoga. You can control what food you eat, what nutrition you put in your body. You can control if you decide to take your supplements. Like I've been taking extra vitamin C and vitamin D to keep my immune system strong. I've been starting to take other supplements because I'm focused on doubling down on my self-care to do everything I can do to stay mentally, emotionally, and physically in my best health. I'm actually in the best shape right now that I've been in a while, and I'm going to keep going. So I encourage you, if you've been feeling down, if you've been going to, what we call short-term coping skills or short-term stress coping skills, that's okay. But guess what? You can make a decision today or tomorrow to say, I'm not doing that anymore. You can control that. You can choose. You can be empowered. Okay? So there was another study that was done in 2019 where they analyzed the results of past studies to get a better idea of how COVID could impact those that are quarantined. So the review found the psychological distress both during and after quarantine. Here's what they experienced up to 3 years after quarantine, okay? So that is why this is important for you to take care of yourself. They experienced fear, sadness, numbness, emotional numbness, insomnia, confusion, anger, frustration, post-traumatic stress symptoms, depressive symptoms, low mood, anxiety, stress, emotional disturbance, irritability, and emotional exhaustion and burnout. Okay. So there's evidence that there may be other longer term consequences as well. And two of those is substance abuse and alcohol dependency that was common up to 3 years after quarantine. Up to 3 years after quarantine. So these are what we call short-term stress and emotional numbing coping skills, right? Is using alcohol or substance abuse. So I'm not here to judge, like there is no judgment here. I'm only talking about this to build self-awareness for you to maybe think about, okay, well, what nutrition have I been putting in my body? And have I been moving? Have I been exercising, even if it's for 15 minutes? Have I ever tried meditation? Maybe for 5 minutes. Am I maybe overindulging in alcohol, or am I overindulging in sweets, or am I watching too much Netflix, or whatever it is, right? To just kind of like step back through witness mind, through non-judgment, to look at what is working right now for you and what is not working for you right now. And that is more what we're going to talk about next week. We're going to take a step back and we're going to look at what emotional patterns and what samskara patterns and what behaviors that might have been going on in quarantine or pre-quarantine that are not working for you anymore, and how can you change them. Okay. So those are my highlights for what we talked about today. And I hope some of this resonates for you. I really do, because I'm not trying to scare anybody. I just want to build self-awareness because I care about you guys. I love you guys. And you guys, without me getting emotional, see, I'm going to get emotional. You guys have seen me teach this stuff for, gosh, 4 years. See, I'm getting emotional because I care. And I want you guys to be healthy. And I don't want you to end up burned out. I don't want you to end up anxious or depressed or getting to a place of rock bottom, which is what happened to me. I don't want that for you. So I'm sorry to get emotional, but I do care about this. So that's what you're seeing here. This is real. This is authentic. And so, sorry. I get fired up about this stuff. I'm super passionate about it. So with that, I'm going to let you guys go. But again, this, as you can tell, I'm authentic with this stuff. So I really do care about you guys. I really want you to stay in a healthy place. I want you to know that you can make a choice, that you can decide. And if you have, gone off the bandwagon during quarantine, guess what? Today, you can make a decision to get back on the wagon. Or tomorrow, whatever you decide. Okay? But you can decide that. You are empowered to do that. And you can take control over depression. You can take control over anxiety. You can find holistic ways to deal if you're dealing with insomnia. And if you're dealing with overwhelm, if you're dealing with burnout, if you feel like you're drowning right now, we are going to talk to you next week about some ways to be able to holistically deal with that. Okay? So I'm not here to tell anyone, I have nothing against taking any kind of medications. I know that there's certain challenges that medication is required. And there is something also called generalized anxiety which is when somebody has anxiety all the time versus situational anxiety, where tons of things are happening. Like right now in a pandemic, this would be a great case of a situational anxiety. So there may be more people right now that are feeling like that they need to go on a medication to get through this. And again, no judgment. But what we're trying to offer you in conjunction with that is holistic ways, teaching you breathing techniques and yoga and meditation and journaling and other cognitive behavioral change that you can get through this and come out on the other side stronger, even before this all started. And I'm here to share with you that it is possible because I've done it. Okay. And I know there's other people that have too, that have actually taken this quarantine and they've used it to actually improve their mental and their emotional and their physical health, this extra time that we've had. And that doesn't mean if you haven't done that, that again, you can't decide tomorrow to do that. So there is no judgment, there's no shame, there's no guilt. We let go of whatever happened during quarantine. If it wasn't what you would have liked to have happened, that's totally fine. But we're going to let that go because having guilt and shame around it does not change it. Okay. So I'm going to jump off now. I've been talking here for, gosh, I didn't realize it's like 20 minutes. But again, last time, mark your calendars, September 14th through 18th, next week, 12 noon Eastern time. And we can't wait to see you on the inside. I hope you have a rest of your day. I hope you have a beautiful day. Namaste.